doing our notes over the study guide for chapter 1.6. And as always, whenever we start a new topic, we always start by identifying the learning goal or the learning target for that day. We're going to learn to multiply and divide integers in this section. Here's our rule. The product of two integers with different signs is negative. So the product of two integers with different signs is always negative. So 2 times a minus 5, I actually do the multiplication part, 2 times 5, and I get the answer of 10. And the answer, since they're opposite signs, must be negative. So the answer is negative 10. Here's the same equation, or the same problem a little bit, but if the negative is out front, it's still the same thing. It's still 5 times 2, which is 10. And since the signs are different, it's negative 10. Let's work this one out. We've got 4 times a negative 8. So we actually do the multiplication. 4 times 8 here, 8 and 8 is 16, 32. So it's 32, and since the signs are different, it's negative 32. How about this one? 6 times a negative 3. So it'd be 6 times 3, which is, of course, is 18. But since the signs are different, it's negative 18. Negative 5 times 7. 5 times 7 is 35. And since the signs are different, it's a negative 35. Negative 35. Find a negative 2 times 6. We've got 2 times 6, which is 12. And since the signs are different, it's negative 12. The product of two integers with the same sign is positive. So that means that positive 2 times positive 5, 5 times 2 is of course 10, but since the signs are the same, it must be positive. Look at this example though. I've got a negative 2 times a negative 5. Still 2 times 5, and it's still equal to 10, but since they're both negative, it is a positive 10, a positive 10. The signs are the same, their product is positive. Negative 12 times 12, negative 12 times negative 12, the signs are the same, so I do 12 times 12, which is 144. The signs are the same, so it must be positive 144. Negative 8 times negative 8, 8 times 8 is 64. They're both negative, so it becomes a plus 64, a positive 64. Multiply more than two integers. Well, that's just a little bit more complicated step, but it follows the same rules. If I'm multiplying 6 times 2 times a negative 4, I'm going to do a little bit of grouping using the associative property. And I'm going to say it's the same as saying 6 times 2 times negative 4, and I'm going to do what's inside the big brackets first. So 6 times 2 is 12, and it's positive. 12 times a negative 4, I actually multiply 12 times 4, and I get 48. 48, since the signs are different, the product is negative. Find 5 times a negative 3 times a negative 2. Again, I'm going to use the associative property, and I'm going to group these two together this time because they have the same signs. I'm going to say 5 times a negative 3 times negative 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Since they both have the same sign, it becomes positive. 5 times 6 is 30. They both have the same sign, so they are positive. So the answer is a positive 30. The quotient, which means division, the quotients of two integers with different signs is negative. Different signs is negative. The quotient of two integers with the same sign is positive. So for example, 16, which is positive, divided by negative 8 is still 8 into 16, goes 2 times, but since the signs are different, it must be a negative 2. A negative 16 divided by negative 8, still 8 into 16, it goes 2 times, but since the signs are the same, the answer must be positive. Divide or find 30 divided by negative 5. Well, we take 5 and divide it into the 30, we're going to get 6. Since the signs are different, it must be negative 6 is my answer. Negative 6 is my answer. 36 divided by negative 6, again, 6 into 36, goes 6 times, but since the signs are different, it must be a negative 6. Negative 6. Negative 27 divided by negative 9, 9 into 27 goes 3 times. The signs are the same, therefore the answer must be positive. Negative 30 divided by 5. 30 divided by 5 would go 6 times. Since the signs are the same, it must be a plus 6. The answer is plus 6. Evaluate 3x minus a negative 4 times y. If x is negative 10 and y is negative 4. So as I plug this in, the negative 10 goes there, the negative 4 goes there, so I've got 3 times the negative 10, and then I've got minus a negative 4 times a negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4, the signs are the same, so as I do the product here, 4 times 4 is 16, and so that would become a plus 16. 3 times a negative 10 becomes a negative 30. So I've got 30 minus 16, which would be a negative 46. A negative 46. Evaluate 2a minus a negative 3b if a is negative 6 and b is negative 4. So I've got 2 times a negative 6 minus a negative 3 times a negative 4. Negative 3 times negative 4 is the number 12, and it's positive because they've got the same sign, so it's plus 12. 2 times a negative 6 is a minus 12, so I've got a minus 12 minus 12. It's minus 12 plus a negative 12. So I go 12 plus 12, because they have the same sign, is 24, and the sign is negative. So it's a negative 24. On this one, we're asked, Justin scores the following points for a round of 9 holes of golf. Find Justin's average score for the round. To find the average, I need to add these up and see what his score is. So I'm going to say 4 plus a positive 2, plus 0, plus a negative 1, plus 2, plus a negative 1, plus a positive 2, plus 1, plus a negative 1. I'm going to start and work these through left to right. 4 plus 2 would give me a 6, plus 0 would give plus 0, minus 1, plus 2, minus 1, plus 2, plus 1, minus 1. So in this case, I'm going to go 6 plus 0 is 6, minus 1 becomes 5. I did those 3. That would be then plus 2, minus 1, plus 2, plus 1, minus 1. So 5 plus 2 is 7, minus 1 becomes 6, plus 2, plus 1, minus 1. 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 1 would be 9, minus 1 would be 8. And I need to divide that by the 9 holes, and I find out it is just under 1 per hole. Summary. The product of a quotient of 2 integers with the same sign is positive. If they're the same sign, the answer is positive. If they have opposite signs, then they're negative.